All right, we are live at the East Food Hall. It is Brian Smith, Jason Myrtetus. Flyers game day. Flyers Penguins game day. That means a little more Flyers Penguins game day, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It's half the Flyers and a portion of the Penguins, but it's still there, right? It's still a vibe, and even though it's a weird time and it's not a playoff series or something like that, there's always a little bit of an edge when these two teams get together.
Yeah, and there'll be an edge tonight. And how about Pittsburgh? You know, the tales of them and their demise of this core group, and they need to rebuild. Oh, they're going to need run is over. Oh, they need to make trades. Oh, they shouldn't sign Malkin or Tang. They've won 9 straight. They're the hottest team in the league. They won last week over St. Louis. Crosby was spectacular in the game. They come in 9 straight games here.
You know, it's been a very streaky season for this team. They came out of the gate really hot, then they cooled off, and now it's back again. But the one thing that this team has shown is that they are able to win under any circumstances, whether they've got Malkin, whether they don't have Malkin. Crosby's the same way. They had some of their most success they had last season without those two in the lineup. So they're built to play either way. They've navigated all this mess as good as any other team in the league, and it's certainly paying off for them to this point.
Yeah, it's amazing that they just keep doing it. Crosby was incredible in that game last night, but they did have something happen in the game last night that you don't like to have happen in a back-to-back, and that was DeSmith had to be pulled from the game and Jari put in. Jari made 13 saves on 13 shots. DeSmith let in 3 goals on 16 shots in the game, but it's going to be tonight. And the real big storyline, though, is who is not available for the Flyers. Now, I'm going to read these names. I did a whole episode on Flyers Daily about this, by the way, because the Flyers not available for the protocol. Konechny, Sanheim, Giroux, Provorov, Jackson, Sealer, and then you combine that with the injured players of Couturier, Ellis, Brassard, and Thompson. And you got 10 players right there not available for this game.
Yeah,
it's not there.
It is, and you look at it and you wonder, what's the threshold? And it seems to move around a little bit. There were some games that were supposed to be played tonight that were canceled due to circumstances surrounding the team. But, it seems like the Flyers are right there with some of these other teams. So I don't know exactly what the threshold is to play a game or not play a game. The Flyers already have, the 4 guys that are unavailable due to injury. Now, they do this team getting Derek Brassard back tonight. So that's that's what we're hearing anyway. It just, it sums up the situation right now. One of the tweets from Olivia Reiner, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Flyers are taking the warm-ups in advance of their game against the Penguins, and everyone who's supposed to be out there is out there.
That's good.
That's almost all you can hope for at this point.
Yeah, but you never know when a guy can get tapped on the shoulder at this.
Yeah,
chunk, right?
Tapped on Morgan Frost, right?
Yeah.
On the bench, tapped on the shoulder in the first period. You got to go. I think that we're at the point where that's not happening anymore, but I guess you never know when some of these tests are going to come back or anything like that. It's just pretty remarkable, the overall situation that everybody has to deal with right now.
So, some guy, a dedicated person that comes up to the player and taps him on the shoulder, says, "You got to go. I don't know where, but you can't stay here."
Yeah. Well, and
that's the position of the team now.
Yeah, and there's been situations too where guys, they test positive and the team's already moving from one place to another. So you just got to send them to the back of the plane or something like that.
Send them back to the broadcasters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't worry about these guys.
They are expendable. We are all expendable, right?
Yes. So tonight we're going to see Igor Zamula in the lineup. He getting his first game of the season. He made his debut last year. I think that making that 1-game debut or just getting your first NHL game out of the way, having the entire offseason with the knowledge of what it's like to play in the NHL helps you when you come back up.
And not only that, but it goes back a year before, too, when you might recall the NHL shut down. We sat around for 3 months, and then the league formed the bubble. We had the training camp coming into the bubble, and Igor Zamula was there. And everybody's like, wow, that's interesting. Because at the time, he was just a prospect. And then the Flyers took him to Toronto in the bubble. Yeah, he never played, but just the experience of being there. And it was remarkable at the time because the teams were all limited to 50 people that they could have in the bubble. So
Yeah,
they were
shocked that he was one of them.
and they were using spot on them. And so that exposure just to everything that was going on then, even off-day practices, morning skates and stuff, that was a stepping stone for him as well. And then, like you said, last year he got into some games, and it makes a world of difference going through the summer knowing what it's like versus still wondering what it's like.
Yeah, I think that's really important. It's a great point you made, because just being around those guys, practicing with them every day, practice habits, and the elements of being an NHL professional, that stuff goes a long ways. An undrafted player, and he's in the lineup tonight. Cam York is in the lineup tonight once again. And Brian, I thought in the game the other night against Anaheim, his hometown, by the way, so he's got friends and family in attendance at the game. And I thought he was one of the Flyers' best players in that game. I thought he was just real calm again. That's Cam's game. And we're going to look at him here tonight on the home ice. Played 3 games last year, 4 total now in the NHL. But he's just a player that doesn't get overexcited about the situation and doesn't get overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, and Mike said the same thing about his play the other night. I was really looking forward to seeing him. I have to admit, doing what we were doing last night, or the last game rather, watching the games on TV and stuff. I didn't see him all that much. We had a bunch of other stuff going on. So I am looking forward to get to see him in person tonight, because that's where we saw him last year, and he just looked smooth as silk. You would imagine, a first game, the first few games for a guy in this league, there'd be jitter. He would just be, quick to get rid of the puck, just wanting to, move it along as fast as he can, and he would just. We saw one rush. I still remember he took the puck behind his net, head up the ice, headed up ice, head up the whole way, just surveying the situation. Looked like he'd been here for 5 years. So, that is one of the things that could be a benefit from this whole situation, that the Flyers maybe get a look at him a little bit earlier than they otherwise would. Same thing with Igor Smolka. And there's guys like this taking opportunities all over the league. We saw an Anaheim team that had 3 players we'd never heard of the other day. These guys would normally be getting NHL chances, but right now, because everything is so fluid, guys having to sit out at the last minute, these guys are getting pulled up, and they're getting an opportunity to show what they are.
I have to admit that sometimes I still am of an old mindset of they got to put in the before they get there. You got to overcooked and undercooked, right? And with the way players come into the league now, in all these leagues, they come up more ready to be a pro from a hockey standpoint, more ready to be a pro from an off-ice standpoint. And you bring up that Anaheim team, and I look at a guy like Jamie Drysdale, and I look at a guy like Trevor Zegras, and I look at them and I go, these 2 players are having success, and they didn't overcook.
Right.
I think we got to get. I think I have to get with the times a little bit. I'm only 49. I'm not quite 50 yet. It's coming. When the editor went to 2022, I said, "Oh crap, that's the year I turned 50." So, but I'm this old mindset. I think it might be time for me to update my mindset a little bit and go, you know what? This is a young man's league now. Look around the league, and in a flat cap world, ELCs are even more beneficial because they're cheaper. Now, I don't want to push the veterans out, the mid-level contracts out. I don't want to do that to those guys. But sorry, we're in a flat cap world. I might have to.
Yeah, and there are circumstances where you see it happen. And I think it's more with goaltenders than with skaters. But that was the thing about Rasmus Ristolainen, is that when he came in here, he had all these ghastly analytics numbers and stuff like that. But when you look at the guy's progression, I mean, he's thrown right on fire as an 18-year-old in Buffalo, where nothing was good. All sorts of turnover, all sorts of coaches coming in and out, and all sorts of players coming in and out, and having to play top-line minutes against the other team's best forwards. That generated everything. So when he came here, our thought was that, you take him here and you put him in a different situation with, other players in front of him in the defensive pairings, that he would thrive a little bit more, and I really think he has. The whole thing with making sure it never hurts to get guys time in the NHL. You're right. I think that it definitely is a little bit different from, let's go back 12 years when Claude Giroux came up. He spent the first 3 months of the season in the American Hockey League, was second in the league in scoring. He came up the day after Christmas and more or less never went back. So that was, it was obvious then that it was time. But some of these guys, especially the defensemen, it's less obvious. You have to,
because the numbers aren't there.
Exactly. Right? You're not looking at you're not looking at a couple of things. You're not looking at the overall defensive numbers and just the analytics that we have at the NHL level. They're just not quite there yet at the American Hockey League level, and that's mainly because you don't have people watching as closely as you do in the NHL. Yeah. So it's harder to tell sometimes with the bottom 6 forward candidates and the defensemen. But you just got to get up here. You get them up here, you get a look at them, and that's what happened with Carter Hart. I don't think he would have come up when he did if the Flyers didn't need him. Was hurt. So
yeah. I mean, the other thing with it too is there are some players, and this happens in all of sports, that at lower levels, whether it's the AHL or in the East Coast Hockey League or playing collegiately or major junior, they're good players and they portend well to the NHL. They project out well. But sometimes they get to the higher level and you go, wow, this guy is even better as a pro than he was in junior or at college. And you go, well, how is that? Well, sometimes players, when they play with more skilled players, they're able to raise the ceiling of their game to a higher level than they were able to do with, talent around them that just wasn't as good. And so when they get to the NHL, they're better players than they even were in their junior ranks or coming up or whatever it might be. And Cam York, he played at the University of Michigan, had a real good couple of years there, played for Team USA in the World Juniors and was part of that national team development program and comes in highly decorated, if you will. And then I think he's just one of those players that when he gets to the NHL, because he thinks the game so calmly and the game doesn't need to slow down for him, that he might be even a better player at the NHL level. And maybe it's just about time to just say, you know what, let's turn over to some youth here. Because I see the effect that a young player can have on a team too. It brings a youthful exuberance and enthusiasm to an entire team and the veterans as well.
Yeah, it does. The overall mindset the Flyers were going into this year with was that they were going to put Ryan Ellis up top with Ivan Provorov, and then Ristolainen and Sanheim on that second pairing, and the third pairing would be Keith Yandel and Justin Braun. And Ryan Ellis unfortunately has not been available. So they've been doing what they've needed to do, just kind of rolling people in and out. But that's where the Flyers got in trouble last year. Now, granted, last year was way more chaotic in the defensive core than it is this year. But last year, because they had to keep switching guys in and out, they couldn't get anybody that had any sort of consistency with each other. And so, if York is ready to go, maybe that's where they can, kind of look at it and say, okay, let's look at this a little bit differently. Let's bring him up. Maybe not necessarily put him on the top pairing all the time, which I think might be where he is tonight, but not necessarily keep him there all the time. But you can ease him in this situation by, sometimes putting him out there against the top players on the other team. Sometimes you roll him out against the second one. Maybe he gets the answer at least until Ellis is able to come back, whatever that is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the big question mark, right?
Right.
And you can get a guy like York in, especially when the schedule gets more normal, and because there's going to be makeup games and there's going to be, four game calendar weeks, and it's an opportunity to bring guys in and out of the lineup, keep it fresh, back to backs. You have a fresh body in there, whether that's Cam who comes in on the second part of a back to back, or a guy like Sealer comes in for a game and then goes out for a couple, or Connaughton, and you kind of can rotate that 6B spot, if you will. And when Cam's in, you go, oh, maybe he's on the top pairing tonight, and that bottom pairing, things just shake out differently, and you move Braun around. It depends on combinations.
Depends on what you're playing too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So do you have the station in our ear so Pat can let us know when we're going to go live on the radio? So I think we're about 2 or 3 minutes away.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll join but
shortly.
Yeah, we'll join our radio audience here in just a moment. But it's the Flyers and the Penguins tonight. And Brian, let's look at the standings real quick, because The Flyers are right behind Pittsburgh in the standings. They're next to each other. They're not right behind them. They're listed. Yes. Penguins have played 32 games. They're 19-8-5, 43 points.
Just 11-point gap, no big deal.
And a game in hand they have. And the Flyers 32 points through 33 games. And Flyers have now lost 3 straight games. And the Penguins have won 9 straight games. Flyers come back from the trip against Anaheim a couple of nights ago. Didn't play yesterday, but Pittsburgh did play yesterday at home against St. Louis. So where's the advantage here? I mean, I don't know. It's obviously with the Flyers with so many players out. Pittsburgh advantage won 9 straight, but played last night. But I don't know how you can cap this one way or another.
Well, it's a point today that I didn't really realize. And it's very interesting that in the Western Conference right now, Colorado is at a 690 points percentage. That's the top points percentage in the Western Conference. It would be good for 7th.
You look for Regis.
I didn't listen to 30, so I didn't. I wasn't listening. I must have read it, but yeah, we'll get more of this once we get on the radio. But
that's crazy.
It's an opportunity here for the Flyers, maybe to catch them in a letdown game. I don't know. It was a very emotional win yesterday. We'll have to see how it goes.
All right, we're getting ready to join our radio audience. Here we go. I won't be seeing that tonight. Connect me to the net. And welcome in right now on 97.5 The Fanatic and the Flyers Broadcast Network. Brian Smith, Jason Myrtetus. And as you heard in the intro there, Connect Me goes to the net and scores. Not tonight. It's more like Travis go to the back of the plane.
How do the 2 Travises get on the list at the same time?
I know.
What are the odds, right?
Yeah, that's called a Travis. But it's a travesty.
Oh. Wow. All right. That's how we're going to start off the evening.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we end better than we start. It's going to be an interesting lineup for the Flyers tonight. Several players not available on COVID protocol. Combine that with the injuries, and you've got one heck of a hockey team that can't play tonight for the Flyers. And you're facing a Pittsburgh team, Brian. Won 9 straight games. They got their 9th win last night. And Mike Sullivan's Pittsburgh Penguins right now are rolling.
I don't know if they pulled out that last night. Maybe not. They were down 2-0, came back, tied that game, went down 3-2, and then were able to take advantage of a couple of scenarios. One being a goal that was. At least Jordan Binnington was under interference. They challenged, didn't get it, so they went right back on the power play and scored 12 seconds later, and that was the difference. So, again, Flyers, maybe with an emotional like that, I don't know if you have an opportunity to catch Pittsburgh a little bit down on energy today, back-to-back, as you mentioned. Flyers, of course, did have to fly cross-country yesterday, but at least they're going in the right direction. The energy is headed up with the body clock changes and all that stuff. So, again, how much does that mentality influence this lineup? Just getting out there and winning one for the Gipper type thing. I don't know. It's a very hard game to get a read on, but everything in this league right now is kind of hard to get a read on because you don't know what you got from night to night.
Yeah, you don't know what you have night to night. And this Flyers team, we don't know what they got period to period, too. And if you're going to get a win against a team that's won 9 straight games, you're going to have to be better in the second period of this game tonight, right?
Yes.
I mean, they've got off to good starts in games. But the second period, and look, you don't have to outduel the other team in every second period with more shots or more possession or more zone time, but it can't be pronounced so far in the direction that the other team dominates the second period like it has been for so much of this season.
And that is whoever plays the game on any given night needs to play better in the second period. Let's just look at it that way. It doesn't matter if it's the Flyers lineup or if they're missing 10 guys out of it. That team that's on the ice needs to have better second periods. The Flyers, I didn't check this in the last couple of days, but going into the Anaheim game, they were one of 4 teams in the league that had given up 32 second period goals. All of them tied for the dead last spot in the league in that regard. Now, they didn't have the worst goal differential in the second period. Arizona does, but they had the second worst goal differential. I think it was 18 at the time. So, it's been a sore spot all year. They fixed the first period issues and it trickled over for whatever reason into the second period. So again, trying to, in general, if anything, worse the first period was because at least you have a bad first period. You got 2 more periods to figure it out. Right now, the Flyers are putting themselves in a position where they've got to make their comebacks in the third period. And that is one of the hardest things to do in this league, is to come back from a second intermission deficit. Not many teams can do it on a regular basis. Flyers have only done it 4 times this year, and I think 18 situations now. So, it's a matter of making sure that the game doesn't get away from that middle frame.
Yeah, and it's going to be so important against a team that's feeling great about their game right now. And the Flyers not feeling great. They come home from that road trip, and all said and done, it's a 1-2-1 road trip. You played 4 hockey games, you only won 1 of them. And this team is at a point in the season right now. The calendar is flipped right at 2022. That's where we are now. And the calendar flipping also means that this team has got to flip the switch a little bit. Yeah, they had the 10-game winless skid and then 7-game point streak, but they got to eliminate this absolutely, this letting losses drag into other games.
And it's a matter of again just trying to play on a little more even keel. You don't let things get too far away from you when you win. You don't let things get too bad when you lose. It's a marathon, not a sprint, which is a cliche, but that's the way it is. So. When you come into a situation like this, where it's a team that's on a run like this, you just go out there and try to do little things. You try to slow them down. You try to keep them to the outside, all that cliche stuff, and try to make life difficult on the other goaltender. And you just, again, have to try to roll with the momentum that they are on. There really is no other way to go about it. So, and again, the Flyers have to do that tonight with a lot of people that either are new to this year or used to playing with each other.
Absolutely. And there will be Carter Hart tonight. He is back for the Flyers. It'll be Tristan Jarry. Those two have worked out together over the summer, along with Dustin Schwartz, their goalie coach back home. So 2 familiar guys battling at each end of the rink, and they're both telling you right. Now, it's not really me against him. I don't go down there and shoot on him. He doesn't come down and shoot on me. But that's nice to say, and it's cute. But it's wrong, because you always want to pull the guy together into the ring, especially when you know him on a personal level.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have long histories against each other, whether it's in their hometowns, whether it's in junior leagues, whether it's in international play. Very few of these guys come into the league and don't know anybody else that's there. So there's always that.
There's that one somebody, right?
Yes, that guy.
What his name is?
I'll think of it here by the first intermission. Good luck. It starts with a K, I think.
Yeah.
But again, there's always that little extra oomph. They want to be as as on top of things as they possibly can.
You got a player that you're going to focus on tonight to watch? I got one. While you're thinking of it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you Cam York and Zamula. The future of the blue line is what I'm going to look at tonight. We saw you one game up this year. I'm obviously going to be watching him, but Zamula is the one that I'm really interested in because, as an undrafted player, we see those players take jumps a lot of times in their development. So Zamula, Big Z, is the guy I'll be looking out for tonight.
When it comes down to the forward lines, the one thing I'm going to look at is how Derek Brassard looks. He's going to be back in the lineup tonight. He's slotted in at left wing on the second line. It would be remiss if we didn't talk about how well he was playing before he got hurt, and then he got COVID. So we'll see where he's at tonight before he's back and ready to roll with some momentum here.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it too. And the game, ESPN Plus game tonight as well. So
it's a wrinkle there. If you're home trying to watch this game, it's not on your normal cable channels tonight. The only place you can watch this game is ESPN Plus or Hulu. It'll be streaming on both services. So if you have those, you're good. If you don't, suggest that you look into getting it.
I'm already getting the tweets.
Yeah. Well, it's not our fault, but
not the Flyers.
It is a new wave, and you can actually get every NHL game in the entire league now.
It's the center ice.
ESPN Plus, yeah.
It's
a good thing.
The other part of it too is people go, well, why are they doing it when the Flyers play the Penguins? That's one of the most popular games to watch. That's exactly why they're doing it.
That's
why they're doing it. So, and the Packers have already had a couple of games on ESPN Plus, including one against Washington. Flyers will have them as well. But stay tuned. Tim Saunders, Steve Coates, their local radio call coming up after this. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day Pregame Show on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. All righty.
I was like, if I ain't going downstairs, I ain't wearing a suit. Nobody goes, no. Oh, fuck me. Watch this. I can't move. Me and my wife went on Christmas that when we were taking the shit down and get some new bins at Home Depot. I didn't know she put all the shit we bought in the bin. I went to pick it up and I'm like, oh. I hadn't been able to walk for 4 days. Oh, dear.
Flyers start a new season with their biggest that quiz starts. It's time for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. For Tim Saunders and Steve Coates on the BetRivers.com Flyers broadcast network. He does a great job. He's a good player. He's smart around the net. Really good shot. And all the different elements to be a good player. And, you know, the thing comes to the top when you have the opportunity, and he has taken advantage of that.
It says the bigger the challenge, the bigger the opportunity. There's an opportunity for two young defensemen to actually grow up as regular tonight, and he learns some bonus in the defensive block.
Well, it's not like Zano's that are getting the block. He's been here. We were all impressed by him because the big, tall, lanky kid that go with the puck. Cam York looked all right the other night. But I'll tell you what, this is a different animal you're facing tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it.
Flyers and Penguins take down 21 of the opening face-off. After these words on the BetRivers.com Flyers broadcast network.
This has been Down to Face Off on the Flyers Radio Network.
Call Mary Mortgage. Against all odds, CCM has just closed the Garcia's dream home in 21 days. I was able to speak with their top loan officer before they went into the locker room, and he said it was a matter of dedication. Ultimately, they lean on their experience as a team. They've been here before. They've done all types of loans. Simply put, CCM loan officers know how to close as a team for your dream home. Cross Country Mortgage is dedicated to getting it done. Back to you in the studio. Cross Country Mortgage LLC and MLS 329 www.consumer access to the all the action on the ice cream movement toys, we're creating the hottest game in town. Don't watch it! One of the world's most beautiful showgirls warm you up as you play in the game on the last giant video box or see it after the game. Your tickets have get you free admission. Ready for a free
It's the season of giving. Give the ultimate gift of life while earning $825 this month when you donate plasma at the CSL Plasma Donation Center near you. You heard me. As a new CSL Plasma donor, you can make up to $825 this month for doing a good deed.
What it looked like.
I feel like standing there creating therapies to treating people with rare and serious diseases. For locations and info on how you can donate plasma.
It's like so weird. I always get hot and then I get cold in this place. Is fucking annoying. Yeah.
Good for you. Great life. The best steakhouses have the best steaks because they call Bernie at Ashley Foods for flavorful certified Hereford steaks. Here,
What'd you get to eat?
Ashley has and the
What did I get to eat? I got a burger.
Was it good?
Yeah. It was salty though, like I was saying, but it was good. I love Shake Shack burgers.
I never had one.
Should try one. Not from here because they're like,
Different?
no, they're fine, but they're expensive as hell because we're here.
Oh, yeah.
But if you ever have an opportunity to go to a regular one, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, like the only place I know where there's one is like King of Prussia Mall. Like I don't know where else another one is.
Yeah, there's not that many around.
Yeah. What was it looking like out there? Like empty, filled up?
It's pretty full.
So far this season, he is 9-4. Both guys have 2.76 and the same percentage of 9-17. For the Pittsburgh Penguins is going to be Christian Jarrett. He is 25 games played, 16-5-4. Both guys have 1.89, same percentage 9-34. The goaltending for the referees are Rich Dunning and Herman Sell. And the linesmen are Kyle Murtetus and Julian Poirier.
Really, you can't be playing much better than the Pittsburgh Penguins are. 9 games in a row they've won. That ties the longest winning streak for the NHL this season. 5-3 victory last night over the St. Louis Blues, and they were down 3-1 in that game and came from behind. Fires controlled the opening face-off, and the game underway. Philadelphia beginning with the considering Joel Kerr leading Contact. They see him fired one right across the goal. They won. Back to keep it down low, away from him. Now 10 and 20 behind his own net. Barely getting there in front of him. Build it, walk it up, then intercepts at the side of his own net. And able to bring it back to center ice before Barnes finds him back in. In here, first change, Penguins do the same. This is the tank. The middle gets it. That's very happening. Wood is a good rally aggressive over this building. We're seeing Sam standing out in the former fire. And the former number has got it. There's a circle around that was behind it. The fire's out of the way. Squirrels are trying to get it in deep. The Pittsburgh blue line did just that. And the Penguins will send it back to the Philadelphia blue line. So Lula inside his own blue line gets it up the rest of the line. Igor Sabula playing his first game of the season here tonight for the Packers. This is his third game in the NHL. And also putting at the top there, Sabula on the second team there. And on second, Madison unable to complete a pass. He was looking for second goal. Now the Flyers said, well, we'll go out with Kevin Cagoff as they drive it over again on the ice. Again, you can make it have a good team, but the guys that aren't available to the Flyers tonight. Derek Broussard behind the net as he returns to the high left. Kevin goal with Morgan Frost right behind the net, and Broussard nearly scored. In the right wing corner, Penguins gain control, and Matheson banks it at the right wing. Now, alone in the fire goal line is crossed again. Bolden never really much of a shot on goal. And tripled to the net. Parker Hardy give it to Kendall. Left point taken from center by Oscar Lindblom. Back into the Pittsburgh zone. The Penguins control as they come. And Boyle will drive in behind the net. Hardy will play it to the corner. Bounced off of Lindblom. Left down by York. But getting to the corner was Casper Borgfest. Was the infrastructure for Florida. So one penalty free. Horfus starting forward and Patrick Brown. Check by Horfus in behind his own goal. And Horfus nearly took the puck away. Fires it again. Keep it fast and then Uncle going to Oscar put it in the Pittsburgh field on defenders. He controlled that right back down. Early on the opening period, we played 2 minutes, 45 seconds in this first quarter, no score.
I thought the Flyers would come out with a little bit more zip, but you know what? I see what they're doing. They're so back.
So he gets in behind the Philadelphia net for the right corner, plays it up top down the wall, but they back in behind the goal by John Marino, trying to get Freeze Crosby. He's able to fight through the check of Sabula. How about this for a challenge for Igor Sabula? Facing a couple of the best forwards in the league. The batting is shot by Rusty and Hart made a good save on top.
What a test it is.
Rusty in the corner on the right side. Well, off the block by Scott Clark. Get it out that point. Here's Pedersen with a drive. That could throw it. Hart juggled it, but he's got it covered up. As the Penguins go hard in front of the goal.
Well, Rick's Alliance playing with Sabula. That's a nice combination. 2 big, tall, looking guys back there. And I really like Sabula. I like the way he moves the puck. And then you're going to have a little bit of a different look where you got Crosby and Gensel coming at you. So Rick's Alliance is going to be a real good addition to be able to play with Sabula. The key to this game, no 2 ways about it, is 79. Let's get that right now. Anybody? Any questions? 79. Try to keep the shots to a go roll.
Those who don't make the connection, 79 points. Carter Hart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Carter Hart. Where have you been? If you don't know that Carter Hart 79 in the city of Philadelphia, where the hell have you been at all?
I would hope so. Here's January. And Pursuit laid up by Braun in the Pittsburgh zone. She's down in the center. Oscar Lindblom looked at the play. Behind it, Patrick Brown kept it alive. Lindblom had it turned away from him. Gets to it to the corner. Feeds up like one. Can't go. Avoids a man, changes the angle, skates toward that corner. He's down low now. And then had it swept off his stick. And then Rodriguez leaves it on the wall for Matheson. And he outlets that puck just missed being hiding. And then the icing call against the guy.
Ooh, they had a break there. Okay, so York pitches, carries that puck right around, but nobody went back and picked up that spot. Somebody's got to take his spot. So that's why that puck, if that's on behind his stick, he's got a breakaway going the other way because the left defenseman's not there. And nobody's covered. How about Hyman all of a sudden scoring goals down for the Pittsburgh Penguins after not being successful with the Boston Bruins?
He's got 9 this year. 3 just in the last 2 games. He's going to take this on the Pittsburgh zone. He's out of Connor Butterman, who's been recalled from Lehigh along with Zabula. With all the bodies missing tonight. Giroux, Provorov, Konecny, Sanheim, Cates, and Sear all on the COVID list. The Flyers have 3 more injured. Nate Thompson, Couturier, and Rathens. Still in the so 9 would be ready to the Fire lineup. The point. Gilman gives it away. He missed the extra shot to care about the end wall. That ricochet free, but Teddy Cooper had his stick held there by Kevin Hayes. It's below the goal line. Drop again, trying to get to it. And the Fire is taken down, and Kevin Hayes was slashed. It's going to be a penalty on Pittsburgh.
Well, Butterman gets the opportunity. Sabula gets the opportunity. Is it a kind of a backhanded compliment that he get called up when nobody else is getting available? Probably. But it's a great opportunity. And Butterman's had so many opportunities. And it's the most amazing thing to me that he came here to training camp a couple of years ago, and we all, well, he and Trubisky, you remember? And we went, wow, this is great. These guys are going to be really good.
First penalty of the game was one against Ted Kluber for Hokie. And Philadelphia was getting 5-on-4. The Penguins have the best penalty kill in the NHL. Now they've given up one in each of their last 3 games, but mostly they've only given up 8 power play goals all season long. So this is a strength for the Penguins. Here's our power play. Have Farabee out with Atkinson, Van Riemsdyk, and Hayes, and keep going on the quarterback at the point. Put it back behind his own goal. Got it from Farabee, and now he's got room to skate ahead of his head. Pushes it up for Atkinson. He'll get in the zone. Then ringside was snapped around behind the goal. Hayes led top of the point. Fairby back middle point, Randall into the right wing circle. And ringside curls there, leaves it for Fairby. JDR goes in front of it as they work the Hayes. Middle point, handled the try, and he fired it high and wide. Fairby in the corner far side was Jack Atkinson. Bandstand back in front, but Pittsburgh intercepts and clears. So the Bengals will change it with the kill. The Flyers will get the other power play here to that.
See, the Cats are pressuring, and then they get back as quickly as possible to have 4 across to be able to make it tough, just what we just said. Because Penguins grab that on the entry.
We're going to love this on the second unit. Zach McKill's getting the power play time. Zach there with Oscar Littlemore, Morgan Frost, Hanson, and Sunrise. Derek Broussard, the other forward, and at the point is Cam York. Broussard carries back inside his own goal line, gets wound up, and makes his way to center, gets the red line, fired it in. Jarry Knight is out back there. McKill checked in the corner. Underneath, Zach Aston Reese. They struggle to top down low. Oscar Littlemore gets in there. Lodi can get that cut for his time getting away from the Flyers. McKill's doing his best. Now it comes out right point. Cam York's going to walk the line, looking at the goal. Gives it up. Broussard took the shot. That got through. Big rebound. And a save by Tristan Jarry with a Oscar Littlemore right in front.
Boy, he made a good one because on top of that, that rebound was right there, but he just kicked it right up to his right.
Right behind the goal, the penalty is over. Teddy Bluger comes out, and the Penguins pull off the first quarter power play. Philadelphia 0 for 1 for power play. Patterson deep behind his own end. He was hit back there by Scott Ball.
I love that. I love that guy. That four check going in there and taking the body.
He created the turnover back into the net and just threw the goal off to the wide. He's off the stick with the fly forward, Patrick Brown. Here's ball, left circle. Brad shoots and a save up high by Tristan Jarry. He got that off the pass. And Brian Russ lays a hand. Crosby, 1 man to beat. Going wide, put the race out of the circle. Hits a man coming left, but deflected by a good Flyer step up over the glass in another play. Push the line and already having worries with Sidney Crosby. We have a timeout on the ice. 1:31 to go. The opening period, no score. On the BigRivers.com Flyers broadcast network.
Flyers on the BigRivers.com Flyers broadcast network.
Just follow these easy instructions. Step 1, shop a personalized store that does all the work for you by customizing a selection for your taste and body. Step 2, level up your closet with the best brands and fits with little to no effort. Not tried as it never looks so good. Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle, your personalized store. We're so you.
With the Peloton bike, there's always something new to try. We're adding new music to our artist series, new disciplines like boxing. So many new workouts to try on and off the bike. There's always something new to keep you motivated. For a limited time, get a $550 value in the Peloton Bike Plus. $300 off plus free delivery and setup. That's a $250 value. All access membership separate. Limited time offer until January 9th, 2022. Free delivery only there for customers and supply.
All the energy on the ice and movie channels, bring away to the hottest game in town, Gelato. Where the world's most beautiful show will warm you up as you play the game on the fastest giant video wall. Or see in after the game. Your tickets get you free admission. Looking for a real power play? Come to Gelato. Voted America's #1 wellness club. Just off Delaware Avenue, just out of this world. Gelato. Where value checking is a way of life. Details now at gelato.com.
This is Philadelphia Flyers hockey on 97.5 The Fanatic. Due to technical difficulties at the beginning of this hockey game, basically I lost the sheet of paper that I needed to read about the fact that the opening goaltender was brought to you by Belfort Property Restoration, is scoring more than just property.
So no one will go.
Just call it really?
I couldn't see what I saw.
Like I lost like everything. Our checkbook, everything was gone. So I just want to apologize to the people of Belfort who are great sponsors of the Myrtetus, but we still got
Runs to the puck and did it away. And Pittsburgh keep it in.